What was the most amount of money that you ever made in a single year?
Reportable to the IRS was a little over $1 million. And with that, it's more money, more problems. If you don't learn how to manage the money, keep the money, and grow the money, shame on you again.
Absolutely. If you were to go back to when you were in either high school or college and you're having a conversation with your 20-year-old self, what is the best piece of advice that you would tell your younger self?
Fail a lot when you're younger, but do it with a compass. So mainly have kind of a basis for what you're doing. Second, I would always say, and I teach this to a lot of young athletes. I was a professional athlete and played baseball. As fast as you can, find a mentor that's specific to what you want to be, what you want to do, that allows you to excel.
I love that. You played professional baseball? Were you in the MLB or?
I didn't make it that far. I made it to.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, what was the biggest thing that would you say that translated as a professional athlete into? I'm assuming, did you go out into the business world? And
I did. I thought I wanted to be an agent. After the Jerry Maguire days, I thought that I wanted to be that guy. Timing, wasn't right. I also didn't have a passion for reading. Back then, you had to have a JD MBA, of which I didn't. I was just more or less an entrepreneur, someone who was excited about marketing, network marketing, building capital around networks. So the relational capital for me has been what's grown my net wealth.
I love that. So my next question for you is, as an entrepreneur, what would you say was your favorite business that you ever started?
Well, I started in the medical space back in 2000. I've been fortunate to have a long career in that space, a bunch of iterations, but one of the key factors was understanding that I can't do it by myself. There was a lot of time where I thought my ideas, my approaches, my work ethic, everything that I could do alone would drive the train. That's just not the case. You surround yourself with better people than you, and you'll grow beyond your wildest dreams.
I love that. And what was the biggest thing that you implemented throughout your companies to ultimately scale them to the point that they got to? If there was one thing that you'd recommend, how can someone really scale their business in today's world?
Find somebody you can properly delegate. So if you have a divisional business, something that allows categorically for you to be involved with multiple things, you allow yourself the freedom to trust and believe in other people to do the right thing. I think integrity really mattered, character really mattered. I didn't always have that. I learned a lot of hard lessons over the life of my career. Some things to my detriment. I would love to have not had those happen, but ultimately at the end of the day, I'm 47 years old. I've been in the business for almost 25 years now. All those lessons are lessons learned, and if you don't learn them, shame on you.
I love that. And most people will never, ever kind of imagine or make that kind of money throughout their careers. Mm-hmm. But if there's anything that you've seen throughout your career, whether it's a skill set or a mindset to possess when going out into the real world, how can someone start their path to becoming wealthy in 2023? In today's world, how can someone really become financially free?
I think diversification is key. There's a lot of pressure right now. There's a lot of downward pressure categorically, depending on the business that you're in. Automation is tough because in one way, it's tremendous in which to accelerate a business, but it can have a dampening effect on the personal aspects of business. I think now, still having a connective tissue to the clientele, personally, not virtually, even though technology allows for a lot of virtual connection to be there, is still keenly important. Remember, there's a tremendous amount of wealth that's out there that's above my age. So the challenge that I see with a lot of people that are younger than me and younger than you or at your age, they don't always have those personal skills. The faster they can develop those personal skills, the better they're going to be.
And what is the biggest mindset change that is needed in order to become a multimillionaire?
I still think a teamwork framework. I mean, I've always been a pusher of not just entrepreneurship, but innovation. I've developed and helped develop a lot of intellectual property. But with that, the timing has to be right, the product has to be right, you have to be right, and you have to have a lot of good leadership around you, not just you.
A last question for you. What was the biggest challenge that you faced as a business owner, and how were you able to overcome that?
Just as a business owner, not developing my bench. I was not developing enough people that were going to come behind me that I trusted enough to do a greater job than I, with still having the confidence and the ability to manage them, but also keep my hands on the reins of the business itself. Secondly, I don't think I always had the compass. I didn't have the grounding, and I mean this relationally, spiritually, psychologically, that was always showing the talents and the skill set of a leader. A lot of my ambition came more from a selfish mindset than it did from a empathetic mindset, something that would allow for everybody else to succeed, not just me. Because if they succeed, I succeed. That was probably the biggest key learning factor.
Okay. And I promise you, I wanted to end with one more, because you had brought up in a prior answer diversification. Mm-hmm. But where have you put your money throughout your career to ultimately grow your wealth? So for someone who's starting to make a decent income, they're starting to save money, put money to the side, they're looking to try and expand and grow the income that they do have. What's the best industry that people should be looking to get into, or where should people really look to put their money?
Industry-wise, I've looked at things that are non-cyclical. So as we get older, medical is never one of those things that's going to go away. We're always going to built to die, right? right? So medical has always been one of those things that has allowed me to expand and to grow. But now I've put my money and faith into people, getting the right people, having the right people, which allow those networks of those people to grow me and to grow them. I have skill sets I know I have, and I know that I can help grow theirs.
But what's the number one characteristics in people that you look to invest in? What's the number one characteristic that you look for in someone that tells you, hey, I want to invest in this person?
I think integrity, a series of questions I go through. I mean, I'm a spiritual person. I believe in a grounding of that effect. I believe that I'm not in the one control. So at that point, I look for those who have the same similar mindsets, the way they carry themselves in and out of the business world. So as long as they have those characters and I know they're going to do things right and I can hold them accountable, I know we'll be fine.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. I really appreciate that.